please join me in Gasho. The ocean of birth and death of painful existence has no bound. Only by the ship of Amida's universe above can we, who have long been drawing infinitely to be brought across it. 生じの深いほとりなし、久しく沈める我らをば、ミラグ勢の船の溝を乗せて必ず渡しけると。ナマンダブ。So good morning, everyone. Thank you for attending today's service in such a beautiful day. And then Zoom attendants, thank you for joining us. It's so wonderful to see all of you this morning. So can you believe it is already June? Half of 2026 is already passed. I just thought about, I was flipping a calendar, and then I forgot to flip to the May. and then I flipped one, and then, no, it's not May. And then it's all the half of the seats already gone. So, and then I kind of feel scared. So, but, and after a long Minnesota winter, but we feel like, the summer has finally arrived. So I hope you enjoy the 4 days, a little bit steamy, hot, kind of little bit complained about, but this is so much better than the cold winter. And then among like this, the morning like this, so you could be at the lake, in the park, walking on your garden, or simply enjoying the sunshine, but instead you choose to come to the Sunday service. So thank you for being here, and thank you for logging in from the Zoom. So today we gather celebrate Gotanye, the birthday of Shinran Shonin. So Shinran Shonin is our tradition, Jodo Shinshu sect, the founder. We recognize him as a founder. So when we celebrate the birthday, we usually remember the person's life. But so today, I'd like us to reflect on the life of Shinran Shonin, his life. So more importantly, I'd like to reflect on what he discovered, shared with us. The discovery was Amida Buddha's primal vow, and the teaching continues to support us today. So Shinran Shonin was born in Kyoto, Japan, in the year 1173, so 12th century. I don't know, what do you imagine that if you hear the 12th century? So like growing up, like Michio and I, growing up in Japan and went to the school there, so we all have to study the history in Japan. So it's kind of easy to imagine that how its life looks like. So there were wars, there were famine, there were disease. Life was uncertain. People often lost their family members at a young age. So Shinran Shonin himself experienced the loss of his parents while he was very young, and he experienced grief and separation very early in his life. At the age of 9, he entered the monastery on Mount Hiei, which is the largest the monastery temple in Japan at the time. And he became a monk, 9 years old. So 9 years old, their time, so like they counted their age kind of differently from now on. So at the time, when the baby was born, it's already 1 year old. And then the first New Year comes after the baby was born, it's already 2 years old. So for example, if your birthday is December, you already 1. And a month later, January, the New Year's, you're already 2 years old. So counting it that way, so all the documentation said that he was 9. It could be he was 7, our age. So anyway, he was very young. So imagine being only 9 years old, could be 7 years old, 8 years old, leaving home, leaving family, beginning of religious life. So according to tradition, when his teacher suggested waiting until the next morning for the ordination ceremony. This is a very famous story, maybe you already have heard many times. So because the young boy Shinran Shonin had arrived at the temple very late in the evening, so it's already dark outside. So think about, there is no lights, there is no electricity like this. So when it gets dark, it's only candles. And it was very dark. Maybe. So, and then the monk said at the temple, well, why don't you wait till tomorrow? So it's already late today. So, but the Shinran Shonin replied with the poem, the heart that thinks there is a tomorrow is as fleeting as the cherry blossom, for is there not the midnight storm? So even as a child, he understands how uncertain the life can be. So on Mount Hiei, after he ordained, he devoted himself completely to Buddhist practice. He studied so hard, he chanted every day, he meditated, he followed the teachings, and faithfully he practiced for nearly 20 years. So it could be it's still the Mount Hiei, they have the hardest training they're still doing. So like, not eating weeks, or just running around to the mountain and up and down. Also, there are so many hardest practice still going on. So we can imagine that, how he devoted to did all the hard practice like that. So most of us, we usually think that after 20 years, such an effort, he could find something because he tried so hard. But Shinran Shonin was very honest. The more deeply he looked into himself, more harder practice, he became aware of his limitations. He realized that no matter how hard he tried, he could not make himself into the perfect person he was. So at the age of 29, 20 years after 20 years practice, the Shinran Shonin left. He decided to leave Mount Hiei Monastery. So he was searching for another way after praying at the Rokkakudo temple. If you have a chance to go to Kyoto, Japan, there is a still temple called Rokkakudo. So please take a trip to see the Rokkakudo temple in Kyoto. So he was ready to meet Honen Shonin, his master, his teacher. So that meeting changed his life. Honen Shonin taught something very simple and very profound. Amida Buddha's vow was established for all people, not only for monks, not only for wise, not only for strong, not only for those who succeeded in a religious practice, for every single people, every single one of them, without exception. This was the teaching the Shinran Shonin had been searching for. So Shinran Shonin later expressed this teaching in a beautiful verse, which is I read at the beginning of this talk. The ocean of birth and death of painful existence has no bound. Only by the ship of Inna's universal vow can we, who have long been drowning, unfailingly be brought across it. This image of the ship is very important. Then notice what Shinran Shonin does not say. He does not say we must swim across the ocean, or he does not say we must become a stronger, better swimmer, or he does not say we have to try very hard to be saved. He speaks of the ship. As ships carry people. When we board a ship, we do not carry the ship. The ship carries us. This is the meaning of Amida Buddha's primal vow. The vow carries us. The vow supports us. The vow brings us across. This is perhaps the most important point I would like to hear today. Amida Buddha's vow was established for all beings. No one is left behind. No one is excluded. No one falls outside of the compassion of Amida Buddha. Sometimes people wonder, am I good enough getting on board on Amida's ship? Or do I have enough faith? Have I done too many wrong things? But these are not conditions of the vow. The vow was made preciously because we were imperfect. The vow was made preciously because we struggle. The vow was made preciously because we cannot save ourselves by our own self-power. So like the people like Shinran Shonin's time, we also live with uncertainty. So we do not know what tomorrow may bring. We experience joy and sorrow, success and disappointment, meeting and separation, health and illness, gain and loss. No one escapes these realities of life. This is why Shinran Shonin discovery remains so meaningful. The shape of Amida Buddha's primal vow was not established only for the people whose lives are going well. It was established for all beings, for ordinary people living ordinary lives, for people who laugh and people who cry, for people who are confident and people who are afraid, for people who feel strong and people who feel weak. No one is excluded. No one is left behind. The ship continued toward its destination because its power comes from Amida Buddha's vow, not from the ability of passengers. So likewise, our birth in the Pure Land does not depend on our strength. It depends upon the power of Amida Buddha's fulfilled vow. This is why Shinran Shonin could say with confidence that we will be carried across. The story does not end there. In 1207, the Nembutsu movement was severely persecuted. Some followers were executed. Honen Shonin was exiled. Shinran Shonin was also exiled. He was stripped of his statue as the monk and sent to Echigo, the very cold place in Japan, the very hard life. His life became difficult, yet he never abandoned the Nembutsu. He never abandoned the teaching of the primal vow. Even through hardship, he continued to share the Dharma. He lived among ordinary people, farmers, families, the people struggling with everyday life. Perhaps that is one person his words should still speak to us today. So he did not teach from the place of comfort. He taught from within the realities of human suffering. So what does it mean to entrust ourselves to Amida Buddha? It means boarding the ship. It means allowing ourselves to be carried. It means hearing Amida Buddha's call, entrust yourself to me. I will not abandon you. I will carry you. I will bring you to the Pure Land. We learn that we are already embraced by boundless compassion. This is Shinji. Not something we create, not something we achieve, but something we receive. How do we respond to this great compassion? With gratitude, saying Namo Amida Butsu? The name Butsu is not a requirement for salvation. It is the voice of gratitude from one who has already been embraced. Sometimes we say it aloud, Namo Amida Butsu. Sometimes we cannot, kind of hesitate to say. Perhaps we are weak. Perhaps we are sick. Perhaps words will not come to our mind. Even then, we can quietly think it in our heart. Namo Amida Butsu. The compassion of Amida Buddha remains exactly the same. So today we celebrate the birth, the Shinran Shonin. We remember the child who experienced loss, the young monk who practiced for 20 years, the seeker who found the teaching of primal vow, a monk who endured exile and hardship, and the teacher who spent his life pointing beyond himself to Amida Buddha. Shinran Shonin showed us the ship. He invited us aboard. It's actually not him, but Amida Buddha, the provider of the ship. Whether we are strong or weak, whether we are healthy or sick, whether we are joyful or grieving, whether our minds are clear or clouded, the ship of primal vow does not sink. The ship of primal vow never abandoned its passengers. May we entrust ourselves to that vow. May we live each day in gratitude. And may we continue to walk together on the Nembutsu path. So before I conclude today's Gotan service, Dharma talk, we will read together the English lyrics of the Shinran Sama, which is the one that I hand out. So after the service, we will sing this song together with a live keyboard accompaniment by Mitsuyo. Thank you so much. So as we read these words, I invite you to think of Shinran Shonin not as a distant historical figure, but as a true friend who walks beside us and gently points us toward Amida Buddha's compassion. So are you ready? Okay. Feel the gentle morning breeze drifting through my room. As I put my palms together, Nenju on my hands. Namo Amida Butsu, gratefully I repeat. Shinran Sama is standing by my side with an understanding smile and joins me into Nembutsu. Through the glittering sunrises, maybe crowded by storms, as I put my palm together, Nenju on my hands. Namo Amida Butsu, gently I repeat. Shinran Sama is helping light my way to walk the lighted path to gather joy of Nembutsu. When I'm overcome with grief, as I travel through life, as I put my palms together, Nenju on my hands. Namo Amida Butsu, gratefully I repeat. Shinran Sama will gently guide to, and hand in hand we walk together, life of Nembutsu. Please join me in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.